Support WrestleTalk!
Thank you for your support on Patreon, Paul E. Dangerously Jarman. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I am El Fakador Laurie Blake, and you can get your own shout out at the start of a WrestleTalk video, just like Paul E. Dangerously Jarman there, by becoming a WrestleTalk pledge hammer on Patreon and clicking the I above my head, where you will get to compete against me, Ollie and Luke in the Wrestle League Predictions War, which you will no doubt win because Ollie and Luke are rubbish. You'll also get exclusive Roundball Club podcast where we just shoot the breeze and have a couple of drinks, which is my favourite because we get drunk. Beer. So, coming up on this episode of the WrestleTalk Man News, sponsored by the man flu that I'm currently suffering from, WWE star returns from injury, ? The Elimination Chamber results have leaked, and an exclusive huge AEW update about their upcoming show schedule. Ooh, secrets. But we are kicking things off with some lovely Ring of Honor spoilers. So if you don't want to know, you're going to have to jump ahead, and you got to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. So Ring of Honor held their Bound for Honor event in Miami, Florida over the weekend, and some fairly exciting stuff went down. Not only did the entirety of child catcher ringmaster Juice Robinson's new stable Lifeblood compete in a match against the conglomerate of Coast to Coast and the Bouncers, aside from Tenelle Dashwood, obviously, because of her being a lady and all of that. But also the Kingdom defeated Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Jay Lethal, Jonathan Gresham and Rush to retain their ROH 6-man Tag Team Championships. Very well done to them too. But the biggest news to come out of the show was that Women of Honor champion Kelly Klein dropped the belt to Stardom veteran and really rather brilliant Mayu Iwatani. So you got to imagine there's some exciting stuff in the future of that division to come. There was also some interesting championship news to come out of Ring of Honor's TV tapings too, as a new challenger for the 10 pounds of gold was decided. On the shows, Nick Aldis came down to the ring and was asked what he would be doing in this year's Crockett Cup, the annual tag team tournament. He said that he was keen as a bean to compete and only wanted one man to be his partner, Marty Scurll. That ruddy villain, that steampunk penguin, he waddled on down to the ring and he pulled a dastardly trick on Nick. He challenged Nick to a match for the NWA Championship, which Aldis accepted. So the two will go head-to-head on Saturday, April 27th in North Carolina. Now, another big bout that has been confirmed recently is a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom 12. On the just-released episode of Being the Elite, it is confirmed that Chris Jericho will take on Kenny Omega one-on-one for the second time at Double or Nothing. Loads of maths, which is obviously the first big show from All Elite Wrestling. Would you stop talking about All Elite Wrestling? God, until there's even a card, it's not even a real thing. I mean, Bucks versus Luchas, Hangman versus Pac, Y2J versus Omega. Sounds like a card. But you don't have to worry, WWE loyalists, because there's good news from over in that camp too. Fox Sports Australia are reporting that WWE has snapped up Aussie wrestlers Elliot Sexton and Jonah Rock. Now, both are said to be reporting to the Performance Center this month and were part of WWE's latest class of signees. Now, it'd be interesting to see what WWE does with them, as the pair used to compete together as a tag team called Sex Rock, which sounds like a terrible first draft name for those crystal sex toys that you can get. And interestingly, with the other Aussie tag team, the Mighty, on hiatus because one of them is home and away, a gap has opened up for another duo from Down Under. Or maybe a stable, the Aussie World Order, and then the surprise member could be Bulk Bogan. Now it's time for a spoilerific Impact Slam of the Week. So if you don't want to know what went down between LAX and the Lucha Bros on the most recent show, you gotta look away now.
Oh! Pentagon Jr.'s waiting. Pentagon Jr. with a super kick.
How is Santana still standing?
Here comes Phoenix. Reverse Hurricane Ronda.
Spiked him, he might have broke his neck.
Ortiz taken down. Ortiz still on the outside. Phoenix is up top. Are they gonna do it again?
God, no!
Fear Factor package spike!
Nailed it!
Here we go! Phoenix takes out Ortiz!
God, what a tope!
Pentagon Jr. has Santana down, and now we have new World Tag Team Champions!
My God, what a match!
Los ganadores y los nuevos campeones de parejas de Impact Wrestling,
gentlemen, in Mexico City, Mexico, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, the Lucha Brothers have become World Tag Team Champions.
So yeah, the Lucha Bros are the Impact World Tag Team Champions, which is just in time for them to face the returning Rob Van Dam and Sabu in a bout at United We Stand in April. Now that's a title match, that is. Speaking of returns, there was one at a SmackDown house show recently, and I would rate it 10 out of 10. I'd actually give it about 7, but I was rounding up for the purposes of this reference. Because Ty Dillinger, the old Perfect 10 himself, returned to in-ring action after being sidelined by a hand injury back in October last year. And as we all know, a messed up hand would have ruined Ty's main offense, showing people the number 10. From these posts from WWE and from Dillinger himself, we can see that Dillinger has ditched the man bun in favour of a short little mohawk, and he comes sporting some new gear and a new catchphrase too, such as #Resurrection of Perfection. With the black and the skulls, I'm kind of getting heel vibes here, but there's also Canadian vibes from the little maple leaf design, which is also taken as a heel thing in America, I guess. And even if Ty is not kayfabe being a heel, SmackDown management may see him one, as he answered a fan's question with some brutal honesty. Somebody asked, would you go back to NXT if it would be possible? To which Ty replied, tried. 10 out of 10 would go back. Now, speaking of WWE's wider programming, Mike Johnson of PW Insider has reported that WWE will be partnering with Netflix to produce original films to add to that very specific Netflix category, action films that are also low-key protein shake adverts. The deal apparently includes one film that is called The Main Event, which is set to release next summer and counts Sheamus, The Miz, and Bray Wyatt among the cast, as well as featuring a cameo from actual movie star John Cena. Now, the story is about a 10-year-old boy who's bullied at school, but dreams of growing up to become a pro wrestler in the WWE and not those damn dirty indies. Now, however, he realizes he can realize his dreams sooner after he discovers a secret to super strength in his breakfast cereal, and he becomes the Spaghetti Kid. Cereal, spaghetti, WWE, just mix it up metaphors. Now, the film is reportedly in the early stages of casting and crewing up, but there's no word yet on where filming will take place. But really, it doesn't sound as good as Big Apple Takedown, does it? Nothing is as good as Big Apple Takedown. Become a patron. WWE were reportedly also trying some other brave new partnerships, like men and women together in matches together. No. Pro wrestling journalist Scott Fishman posted up a promo video for a live event that had Nia Jax versus Dean Ambrose being advertised for the card, saying Dean Ambrose versus Nia Jax is happening on a live event in Arkansas. No matter the side of the fence you stand on intergender wrestling, all eyes will be on this. #WWE. However, it turns out no eyes will be on the match because it isn't actually happening. Brilliant. Both Wrestling Observer and Post Wrestling said they spoke to sources at WWE who said that the ad that had gone around was outdated. Well, so are your attitudes about intergender wrestling. But it does make sense to cancel this intergender special attraction. 1, because it's a live show and why waste a special attraction on one of those. 2, because Dean is leaving the company and there probably doesn't want to actually lose to Nia Jax on his way out. And then you've also got to imagine that WWE are concerned about the blowback from the vocal opposers of intergender wrestling, who just can't suspend their disbelief to watch a woman beat up a man, but they are perfectly happy to watch a tiny Irish man paint himself like a Digimon and call himself a demon. Wrestling. Because there is one woman who wouldn't require any suspension of disbelief in that regard, and that is Ronda Rousey, who finally got an opponent for Elimination Chamber when WWE announced that she would be facing Ruby Riott on the show. Which now means that that card has 5 whole matches. You can count them 5. You got Rousey versus Riott, Buddy Murphy versus Akira Tozawa, the SmackDown Men's Elimination Chamber, the Women's Tag Chamber, and the SmackDown Tag Match for the best in the world. So far, so bog standard, obviously beyond the Elimination Chamber matches. And it sounds like it's going to be a fairly straightforward show too, because cage side seats are reporting the rumour that beyond the crowning of the inaugural Women's Tag Champions, there are no title changes currently planned for the show. Boring. But ultimately understandable, because why switch things up now when we're on the road to WrestleMania? Something else on the road to WrestleMania leaked too, some of what's happening at Fastlane. Cage-side seats are saying that currently being advertised locally for the show is Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, yes please, triple threat for the WWE title. Finn Balor, the Digimon Demon, will take on Bobby Bobba Lashley for the Intercontinental title, and Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, not versus, just and. So maybe they're teaming together or doing a double act like Laurel and Hardy, Charlotte and Becky, but more ladder spots. And apparently not going to be at either Chamber or Fastlane is Brock Lesnar. Surprise, surprise. He must have had some holiday days to use up ahead of April or something. And now for the big exclusive about All Elite Wrestling shows throughout 2019. A WrestleTalk source close to AEW told us what the company have planned for the rest of the year. This is exciting. Now, we already know that they'll be doing Double or Nothing in May, obviously, and the show takes place in Las Vegas at the MCM Grand Garden Arena on the 25th, and it's probably gonna sell out. As Wrestling Observer said that sign-ups for pre-sale tickets had almost reached 12,000, and that was just on Friday. And the venue is reported to see only somewhere in the region of 11,600, which Cody revealed on Jim Ross's podcast. And we also know from reports that they are doing a date in Jacksonville in July that will be for charity, with proceeds going to combat gun violence in the city. But now we can exclusively reveal some of the shows around that, because after Double or Nothing, our source said the promotion would be running an as yet unannounced show in June, and then following the Jacksonville event in July, AEW will come across the pond to take over the NXT UK stronghold, the Royal Albert Hall, in August, and they're going to run a show there. Basically, I am just keeping the whole of August free until I know the date. Just keeping it free. Dad, I'm sorry about your birthday. Then there's going to be an all-in sequel called All Out in September, and they're going to be returning to Chicago. Now that is a solid lineup of dates, and it does mean that by the end of the year, we could have seen a whole host of dream matches, or we could be on Jericho Omega number 6. Also, while we have no updates on any TV deals for the promotion, their aim appears to be to start a weekly show in October following All Out. That is the same month as SmackDown moves networks to Fox and Days to Friday, so AEW will presumably try to capitalize on the now empty Tuesday night slot for wrestling, with the company trademarking the name Tuesday Night Dynamite late last year. All of the pieces are falling into place. What will happen at Elimination Chamber? We found out a little bit in this video, but there are so many other rumours and bits to speculate on, so much so that we've made a whole other video on it, which you can watch by clicking the link on screen now. And why not give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news? I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.